Welcome, collective. So this is a spring equinox reading, tarot reading, to see where we're all at on this unbelievably beautiful morning. The birds are singing, the blossom is out. Let's get a good angle there. Not ideal, but I haven't got anything at all to put you on today. So anyway, let's get going. I've prelayed the cards because I know I'm not going to be able to be long with this because I could get interrupted. So let's move you back there. No, I'll tell you what I need to do. Sorry about this. How frustrating. That's better. There we go. So where we're at internally as a collective on this spring solstice is the Hangman. Maybe it's like me, you've come out this morning and you're thinking, oh my gosh, everything's beautiful. There's a sense of renewal. Life feels optimistic again. What a wonderful time of year. If you're in the southern hemisphere, obviously that won't be the case, but there is a genuine sense of the sort of earth moving at this time of year, and for me that's how it resonates for me, is that it's as if there's a chance for a restart again at this time of year, which is endlessly giving. Thank goodness we live in a world which allows us those kind of rhythms, really, isn't it, so that we don't always get stuck in a rut. We can have that sense of a cycle. And how that's making you act on the outside is the Page of Pentacles. So there's been a transformed point of view today, or in the last few weeks. Things are starting to regenerate, and how that makes you feel is like you want to learn something new. You've got the enthusiasm of this beautiful young page who wants to get out there and really study something that's taken his fancy, and it's an actual thing, and he's got loads of enthusiasm, and he's very, very dedicated. Now, at the basis of the reading, this is really interesting. We have this combination of cards. We've got the Emperor, the Seven of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Ten of Cups. And what that firmly says to me is, they come in pairs for me, is that the Emperor with the Seven of Cups says structure. He keeps turning up in the readings for me at the moment, and it's very noticeable. And so I feel like he's got a big part to play for us at the moment. It's about creating structure that supports us, and allows us to not be too wishy-washy. It makes us take a choice. Even if it's none of these cups here, he wouldn't allow that state to remain where you allow things to go bad because you don't act on them. He's the opposite of that. He's got structure, he's got force, he's got determination, he knows what he wants to do. So, oh, maybe that was a fox. Thought it was someone, but I can hear someone behind. Maybe the foxes are joining us. So that's that pair, and then this pair, again, a very steady energy with the Knight of Pentacles that brings, so if you can employ the Knight of Pentacles who cares for things day by day and is very diligent and careful and loving in the way he acts rather than what he says necessarily, you will then get to this Ten of Cups. So it's about providing structure and support in order to bring clarity, and then great, amazing happiness with the Ten of Cups, which I love. In the recent past, we've got the Five of Pentacles. Here we see this couple looking absolutely devastated. I can see two structures going up either side of the window today, which I've never seen before, and also little spots on her coat, which are like the blossom that's falling all around me. So maybe it's talking about there have been in the recent past some slight signs of hope after a situation where you feel very left out in the cold, needy of money or resource of some sort, or out of your community. And one potential outcome is the Hierophant, which shows everything becoming morally correct. Deep, mysterious teachings being made palatable for the masses. It can be, weddings. It can be sort of things in the eyes of the religious law being correct. Today she looks like the Papess, which would have been one of her original iteration. She doesn't look like a male today. She looks female, and I'm seeing these little stripy black and white bits at the bottom either side of her feet, and some symbols as well, like racing marks or something, race driver marks. It's interesting. It's like ready, set, go. She's sort of giving us the moral go after quite a difficult time, I think, and helping to get everything in order, a bit like the red-cloaked emperor and the slightly red Knight of Pentacles, she or he, is part of this structure that's now supporting us. And in the near future, lovely, a sense of partnership with a friend, a lover, an idea that is really beautiful. It involves opposites meeting, and it's very healing. And it's a stage. You can see these little 2 lions, stage card. There's a house in the back, and a lion looks quite sort of irritable and naughty. I don't know why today. But yeah, so something really beautiful about sharing with a loved one an idea, a friend, a deep friend that's going to be very sustaining. And again, to just emphasize that energy, in our attitude, we have the Lovers. So something about, because it's a collective, I guess what could be happening is that we're partnering with some really good ideas. And these ideas could be to do with the Emperor and the Knight of Pentacles and the Hierophant, a sense of structure that we could be a little bit allergic to under some circumstances is becoming quite helpful. It's actually supportive. It's like the amazingly supportive father, lover, moral system. It's not talking about pushing us down, it's talking about raising us up. So that's really beautiful, and we're ready to take that partnership. Yeah, I'm looking at Eve looking up. The huge sun behind the angel, look at it. The bountiful, huge sun. Now, in our environment, the Seven of Swords, we have to be careful about not giving our power away. And I wonder whether it's about something I was just discussing with a friend when I was walking around the park just now. I wonder whether it's anything to do with addiction to negativity, because we were talking about news cycles, and he is a wonderful person who is such a great man in his 80s, and he never listens to negative news. In fact, when the pandemic came, he just turned off the news. And we were talking about how I was fortunate enough, having got rid of most sources of news, my car radio broke, and it was going to cost £650 to repair and take 6 weeks. And I thought, well, maybe this is a message, because it was my last bit of hearing negative messages every morning. I would listen to a little short chunk as I got to the park with my dog, who's sadly passed now, and I'd laugh sometimes. I'd be like, oh my goodness, how much negativity can you fit in 5 minutes? Anyway, not to say always that program was negative, but I would laugh about it anyway. So here we see something stealing your power, and I just wonder whether it is that. I wonder whether there's a sense that our newfound optimism could be undercut by something that sort of makes us focus on negativity. And again, another amazing person in my life, my physio. I have a bad hip, and my physio was talking to me yesterday about thought viruses. And, you know, he's coming from a very medical point of view, and he's saying that they've now proved that your brain will see a thought virus, so something very negative that you're ruminating on, or grief, or whatever it is, as like a virus, and it will cause inflammation in response. So we know that what we think about and focus on is really important. So think about healthy structures, healthy religious or moral systems, healthy supportive systems that help you now. Try and ignore anything else. And in our hopes and fears, the Two of Swords, we're talking about what we're frightened of is that we want to make the right... Oh, my leg's gone to sleep, just a sec. We want to make the right decisions. We want to bind that tie around our eyes, make the decision that we need to make to move forward now. And we're frightened, I suppose, that in some sense we might get stuck into this position, although you don't usually with the Two of Swords, because those swords are heavy. But there's a decision that needs to be taken, maybe because that's what's coming to mind, is this idea of which kind of pattern of thought are you going to follow. And maybe that's why the Emperor and the Hierophant and the Knight of Wands are here because they're trying to keep us on the straight and narrow, thinking the good, happy thoughts, the spring equinox thoughts, because they stop the inflammation in their body, they stop the negativity. They mean you go out and you smile at someone, and that might be the smile that stops somebody taking a wrong turn or gives them the lift they need. You know, this is important stuff. So I think we're frightened we're going to take the wrong path, and I think there are two paths, and we've got to be really committed now to this path of love, spring, joy, encouragement. And so all of those stern red-robed characters are helping us keep that in check and helping us implement that. And amazingly, in our outcome, here comes another one of these red-robed sort of structured characters who talks about societal or religious structures that help to support us or can suppress us. But here, after the death of an old world, with the Ten of Swords, we have justice, getting it all rebalanced again, getting it legally right, making things right. So this is what we're aiming to do within ourselves, perhaps in our further society. Depending on what you're working on, there could be a sort of legal aspect to your work. And what do we have here? Burden. This is interesting. The sacred. So this is a card from the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle. Let's read the little book, because this is commenting on this reading. So we have all been under burden. A lot of people, I can't speak for everyone, but you know, just looking around my friends and myself, and it's been a tricky time for all of us, and we have to understand that. 88, and now we have to have a strategy to get out of it. What burdens are you carrying on this part of your journey? Are you transporting those of others out of generosity or codependency? Is this burden so heavy that it slows you down? This marker asks you to stop and look at your responsibilities, your commitments, and all that you bring on your journey. Are you clinging to an unhealthy relationship out of fear? Are you taking on the burden of others to prevent them from getting hurt? Do you know that this enables others to avoid learning their life lessons and doesn't really help at all? Think about the difference between compassion and empathy. Empathy, you take their feelings. Gosh, there's a big bumblebee just there. Compassion, you help them make a move that's going to help them heal. Drawing this marker encourages you to release others to their own path. It may also be time for you to ask if you're helping because you like to be needed. If the answer is yes, then the message is truly to let go of that burden, for it's born of self-centeredness. Release the burden of others to the divine. They also have their own angels and guides, just as you do. Trust the divine plan for all. On the sacred path to Avalon, you must be aware that you pack all the essential wisdom tools you will need to chart your course. Integrity, kindness, compassion, discernment, discretion, faith, forgiveness, truth, and love are but some of those. I think that list is what all these red robes are trying to bring to us, along with optimism. So I'm going to read it again. Integrity, kindness, compassion, discernment, discretion, faith, forgiveness, truth, and love are some of these. Maybe you've got others that are important to you, but that's what we're trying to bring. Once your tools are counted, see if the rest of what you're hanging on to is appropriate. This is time to leave behind any unnecessary burdens, to know that you have the strength to carry what is yours. I love that. So try not to take on the weight of the world. You know, that's again the news. It's not to say we turn a blind eye, but there is something about needing to strategize and act and do rather than just jump into the misery pit. And here we have the frog, and it talks about cleaning house, releasing emotional baggage. Wow, 2 cards in the spring. Maybe it's time for a spring clean. Definitely is in my house. 14. I've got lots of books I'm getting ready to get rid of, which I find very difficult, but there's too many in the house. And I've got even a few tarot cards, would you believe it? And a ton of clothes. Anyway, the frog says it's time to clean house and get rid of the clutter in your environment, your head and your heart. Move out any objects, thoughts or relationships that are holding you back. It's time to get rid of anything that clutters your life or your space with unwanted burdensome energy. 2 cards saying the same. Or anything that weighs heavily on your heart. Look around you and take stock of what surrounds you. Does what you see hold positive and supportive energy? If not, it's time to throw it away and release it, so that it in turn will release you from its influence. When the frog appears, it's always spring and time for cleaning your house so that you will allow new fresh energy to enter your world. Frog says it's time to release all things that are no longer appropriate to bring on your journey. Then you will hop onto the next lily pad, light and free. You know, this is where our energy is being stolen, holding on to negative thoughts from the news, trauma of others, our own trauma, stuff that we don't need. It's spring. Oh, anyway, in this hemisphere. Let's have one more comment and then I'm going to close this out. Oh, 4. I don't think that's... What have we got? I'll just read the list. Forgiveness, pride and leadership, the novice, birth and rebirth, and trust. So maybe I'm just meant to look at these. Forgive yourself and others. It's not about blame. Now we've got pride and leadership, which is the Emperor, the Hierophant, justice, and to some extent in his own slightly lesser way, the Knight of Pentacles. Leadership. Forgive yourself. We're being led, and you need to lead yourself out of this process where trust, where we've been holding on to stuff we don't need to, thoughts, items, trauma. Trust that there is a rebirth coming, and we are born new, the novice. I love it. That's the order they were in. Innocence, beginner, ignorance, new skill without practice. It's a bit like him. New skill. Unstable curiosity. We're being born into this new, exciting world. There is a rebirth, and we've got the support of the stag. I absolutely love it. Thank you for stopping by. Enjoy your spring equinox, and see you again soon.